Part 4. The Barter of Panay. The Ati Atahan. Every January, the city of Kalibo in the northern part of Panay Island celebrates the Ati Atahan, which could mean either the celebration of the Barter of Panay or of the feast of the Santo Niño, the child Jesus, since the Catholic Church has more or less confiscated and transformed this commemoration into a religious fiesta. The story of the Barter of Panay is narrated in the Negritos, a manuscript of dubious origins, which describes the arrival of Bornean tribesmen who were menaced in their homeland and who tried to settle in the island of Panay. On their arrival, they found the island inhabited by Negritos. The 10 Bornean chiefs met with the headmen of the Negritos, Merikudo, and negotiated the purchase of the island or of sharing it with them, the Negritos. The price for the island was a salakat, a kind of golden crown, as well as a batya, a wash basin made of gold. The wife of Merikudo also insisted on having a golden necklace whose length reached the ground. She got it. The deal was sealed and the Negritos withdrew to the mountains. A description of the Philippine Islands from 1618 notes the following about the Negritos who lived in Panay. It is a well-established and common belief that they are the real aborigines and that the rest of the Indians are immigrants who conquered them and compelled them to leave the shores and plains and to retire to the most isolated and rugged parts of the islands where they are now. One proof linking these settlers, the Mundos, to Borneo is their bolo handles, which are of an intricate design and are definitely of Bornean origin, from Caris to Sendugo. The design of the Panay Sendugo hilt of the Mundos is directly related to the Chris hilts found in Borneo and in the southern region of Thailand. There, the name of the specific design of these hilts is Hulu, or kingfisher hilt, which derives its name from its elongated and pointed beak. Bird design. Hilts with the design of birds' heads do exist. A prehistoric piece in shell from Panay and a carved piece from Indonesia. The classic Hulu design, however, has its origins in the depiction of a human figure. Early Cirebon, Java hilts with the Raksasa shape represent a complete human body with arms and feet. In the Wayang hilts from Tegal, Java, the body form is reduced, however, the nose is elongated and thus becomes a dominant feature. This form and its size are ergonomically adapted to fit neatly into the palm of the hand. One has to bear in mind that the Chris played an important role in the social life. It was not only a status symbol since a Malay was never separated from his Chris. It was also a weapon of defense and assault. The Chris is worn in a sash on a person's back, with the handle protruding on top of the right and the bottom of the sheath on the left. Smaller Chris's were worn in front. When used, the palm of the hand completely covers the hilt, with only the blade protruding. It was a lethal extension of the arm, and when thrust horizontally, went through a victim's body. It was a futile weapon, an object that meant prestige and power. It was a messenger of death. There are Hulu Chris's hilts presently still found in Borneo. However, they are now scarce. Available specimens show geometrical features with sharp corners. Its aesthetic value dominating its ergonomical one. There are two types found in the Pattani and Katang province in southern Thailand that definitely have a striking relationship with the Panay Sendugo hilts. One, the Tajong version, is usually made out of wood. It is compact and decorated with silver, crown and fangs. The crown is dominant. The other type, the Kating, has a very long and elongated beak that protrudes in a right angle to the blade. There is only a vestigial crown and the whole handle is covered with silver. The overall design has not changed since the 17th century. They represent the form of these hilts. These hilts definitely represent a demonic human head, which has a long, pointed nose, bulging eyes, and long fangs that are similar to Wayang theater characters. It is definitely not the representation of the Naga, but a composite figure. The fangs are those of a boar. a feature that is always present in figural representations in Southeast Asia, especially during the pre-colonial era in Panay and in Kabul. In Panay, the kris transformed into a bolo. The elegant feudal weapon became a working tool and a weapon that was now used with the hacking movement. The ergonomics changed. The hilt that was previously held within the palm now needed a handle which could be fully gripped by the hand. The head was therefore placed outside the hand. It became bigger, and its function changed into a symbol of prestige. The handle had to be elongated, but somehow stay within the initial composition. The upper part under the head remained decorated and was thus still integrated with the head. The lower part towards the guard was plain. These two parts were separated by a decorated band in the middle. It is a remnant of the original kris design, a transformed salute. The depicted wooden specimen, which comes from Topaz, has a round head that is too big to fit into a palm. The nose is pointed upwards and is short, imposed by the material wood. A long nose will easily break, as seen in profile. The eyes are elongated. The fangs are dominant. The decoration was a simply incised one, appropriate to the surface carving. There was a crown that had been cut off, most probably when the hilt was covered with silver. Some silver pegs are still embedded, indicating that the owner had upgraded the hilt when he had the financial means, but stripped it when he needed money. Another hilt is covered with embossed silver plating. The bulging eyes, the cheeks, and the crown are created with the use of Spanish and American coins. The last dated around 1908. This piece comes from Lalo, Panay. It has a longer, impressive nose that points upwards. The specimen on display at the Lalo Museum clearly shows how the Sunduko morphed into a bolo, and the characteristics of the handle with its guard resembles a saber done in recent times. In the Bayer collection, Canberra, there are several photos of Mundo men with the Sunduko. They show a shift from the rather discreet carrying of kris to a more ostentatious way to show it as a symbol of wealth, power, and courage. Two things are important to note. The handle has adopted an octagonal shape, a form which occurs also in clay pipes found on Panay. Then there is change of the blade. The kris blade is forged in the pattern welding technique. During the process of forging, layers of iron with different compositions, nickel, are laminated together. In Java, the number of layers can be more than 100, and 2 to 3 different irons are used. These blades are in themselves fascinating pieces of art. It seems that no blacksmith migrated to Panay to ensure the technical transfer in the making of these blades. The Mundos brought with them another lethal weapon, the Bankao, a formidable lance with an elegant razor-sharp blade. It was huge in relation to the human body. It was heavy in the hand, and when thrown, it pierced the body and bones of a boar or a human body without resistance.